Hey all, welcome back to the channel, Fully Invested Fi. Today we'll be going over episode 3 of the 100% Paycheck investing series. So in this episode, you'll see me invest 100% of my paycheck and see how that works practically, and you'll see me pay bills out of it. Today there's actually not too many bills, just one big one, which is my mortgage. So you'll kind of see how that works with my accounts. So I'll be kind of showing this. I'm doing this all in one take. We'll be showing the full flow all uninterrupted. Before we get started, as usual, for anyone that's returning and needs a refresher, or for anyone that's new to the channel, we'll go over how it works on here. So what's unique about my channel is that I invest 100% of my paycheck, like I was mentioning. So basically my W-2 paycheck deposits to my spending account, which doubles as my checking account. I transfer 100% of that over to my taxable brokerage, and that splits into two buckets. Basically, roughly 40% goes to like growth and dividend growth stocks and ETFs, so that's kind of compounding and providing the capital appreciation in the portfolio. And then roughly 60% goes to high yield income ETFs, so things like XPay, YMAX, ULTY, things like that. And that gives me like a 50 to 60% blended yield, which provides a snowballing monthly dividend that's growing month by month. And that all just stays in portfolio. That pays down margin balance, keeps that in check. And what happens is that I borrow against the full asset value of my portfolio. I ideally never sell any assets. And if I do sell, it's just to rebalance within the portfolio. I'm not taking anything out. And I borrow against the full value of the portfolio. So in this case, on margin. So in this case, I borrow against a 5% interest rate, which is cheaper than my mortgage, which is at 5.95%. So it's a great interest rate from Robinhood. And that's what I use to pay all my expenses. So net, basically what comes out of the portfolio after dividends get deposited, that's essentially what comes out of margin. So say in this case, like say $9,000 is my monthly expenses, I get $5,000 of dividends, $4,000 comes out of the portfolio essentially at the end of the day. So that pays my monthly bills, and really that's what rinse and repeats every month. And hopefully that this kind of aggressive strategy is going to help me reach FI earlier at 40 years old. What's great about today is that you'll see all of this in practice. I'll be showing this fully transparently about how I do all this, and you'll get to see that. So as usual, just a quick disclaimer as far as like this, none of this is financial advice. This is really just for entertainment purposes only, for you to follow along whether I do good in this strategy or not. Absolutely have to do your own research. It's a very high risk strategy that I'm running given the margin. So yeah, proceed with caution. So yeah, one thing that I thought would be nice today, actually. So I get a bunch of questions in the comments as far as like how this works, and like you don't necessarily see the full picture of this when I'm kind of going through this. So I'm stepping through the major steps of the process. I'll be filling this in, like stuff like how my buying power, my cash available, equity, all this stuff here, all these values, how those evolve as I deposit money, invest, and things like that, right? So yeah, so every step away, I'll come back here and then I'll just jot down all these different values just so we know where we're at. And then at the end, we can kind of just see the full picture of like how the flow goes, right? So as far as what I'll be investing in today, so let's just take a quick look at the sheet here. So first, let's start with the growth stuff. Actually, first things first, let's actually just transfer the full paycheck. So yeah, so my paycheck came in here. You can kind of see that come in here. And yeah, let's just first transfer that full amount. So remember all these numbers here. This is like my current numbers here. Maybe a little bit adjusted since I just did this before the video started. So yeah, so these are the current numbers as they are. Let me transfer over full amount here. So we'll transfer this from spending to individual. So this is where I got the cash available for withdrawal there. So yeah, let's just transfer that over. Cool. So I'm transferring over the full amount. Takes a second here. All right, cool. Go to 0. So if we go back here, you'll see that this amount has gone up, right? Because 5.4K got transferred over. My buying power went up by double that amount. And yeah, let's just start noting this. So 139.3K. All right. Excuse the great mouse scripture. So if we go to withdrawable cash, 22.1K here, right? And then buying power, this is 44.8K now. And then market value will actually go here. And you see the full market value here, so 264K. So that actually stays the same because, yeah, I haven't invested in any assets yet. My margin balance, you'll see that my margin balance over here actually went down because once you deposit money, it pays down that margin balance. So 124.8K. And then margin total, this goes up as well because of the money. So 169.6K. So that's like the full margin I can basically take out if I really max it out. And then margin buffer, that of course goes up as well. So 72.2K, and then that's 51.8%, 51.9, let's call it. All right. So yeah, so this is with the money deposited. So just call this 5.4K. So you can kind of see how those values evolve, right? And then yeah, let's just start figuring out what I'll invest in this week. I think I'll probably actually keep it pretty simple this week. So if I look at the 200-day moving average here, obviously like the high yield stuff is low, but I'm going to ignore those for now. But Costco's in the red here. It has a dip of like 5%. Like if I check my actual holding as well too, can kind of confirm that there. Most everything else is in the green. So like just, yeah, everything's at a near all-time highs right now or at all-time highs. So yeah, honestly, I think I might just kind of keep going on Costco. I know I've been boring. I've been doing this for the last few weeks, but yeah, just want to kind of push heavier in that. Obviously, if we check Costco's numbers, honestly, they're just, look how consistent they are. So this is quarterly. Let's go push to annually. Yeah, just that consistent revenue growth. That's working amazing. Like 8% last year. Over the last 5 years, 10% every year. Their warehouse is steadily growing. Car holders steadily growing. Way more cash than debt. That consistent free cash flow here too. They're holding a lot of cash. So like typically like when they have a lot more cash than debt like they do here, that's when they do the special dividends that they do, like the $3 dividends. So I wonder if we're kind of due for that. I think the last one was in 2023 if I'm not mistaken. And that's why there's like the dip in cash here. So I wonder if we're getting near that point again too. That'd be nice. They usually do that in December if I remember correctly. But yeah, I know the P is a bit high, but Costco is always high given how good of a company it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna do it while it's relatively low in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, it's definitely off its highs, but yeah, let's do Costco. So let's move over here. So I'm gonna do $2,000 in Costco. So yeah, and you'll see the buying power here just go down by 2,000. So $2,000. I'm gonna bring up my calculator here too, just so I can kind of keep track of things. So yeah, do that. Buy order. Cool. So this is like, yeah, fueling my growth side of the portfolio, and that's just going to be kind of compounding, right? Cool. So that went down. And then for the high yield side, I'm going to keep it pretty simple as well. So like what I've been really doing over the last few weeks is really building up my ulti position. Like I've said in previous videos, I'm not necessarily in love with like all of the positions that they have in ulti, but I'm in love with like the overall strategy of just chasing high IV names that they rotate every few weeks or every few months, and just extract income from that, from the volatility. So what's been amazing is that like, yes, we've been in a bull market and everything, but like since March, since it went weekly, they've actually kept pretty stable to this like 85% dividend. That's like my yield on cost right now too, roughly. So yeah, that's been pretty amazing to see how consistent they've been with it. Like we'll see how consistent they can be in the long term. That's the whole thing of watching how that does. But I think I'll just keep pushing into ulti, just because it's out of like my anchors, which is like YMAX, XPay, and Ulti, like that's the highest yielding one. So I just want to really boost my monthly income here. And then after that, I'll probably just diversify into maybe lower yielding names such as YMAX or maybe even SPY that also have some NAV appreciation there. But so we'll just push into Ulti here. So my full paycheck here was, what was it? Was 532.31, right? 1 minus 2,000. So I have 3.4K to invest. So yeah, let's just go do Ulti here. And yeah, so what was it? 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3, 4, 2, 1. Cool. So like, yeah, and the idea here is that like basically 85% of this would get paid out as income, and then over 12 months, and then you can kind of split that, how much you'll get per week. So like, say if we calculated it actually, so if we want to estimate how much we'll actually get, so this is what I'll get in a year. If I split that over 52 weeks, that's basically boosting my weekly income by $56, or if I split that over a month, $224. So good deal to me. So yeah, we'll just do that and review order. Cool. Buy. Done. Sweet. So yeah, they'll update. And yeah, so that's the buys really. Keeping it pretty simple this week. And yeah, now that I've invested my full paycheck, let's take another gander at these numbers, right? So these are all updated. So my equity value has stayed the same because nothing has come out of the account. I basically invested it. So, and just kind of invested on margin. So the equity value stays the same, 139K here. And then cash available, if we check here, let me just refresh this just in case. Cash available, 19.4K. And buying power, 34.4K. Wait, no, 39.4K. Can't read. And then market value, if we go here, 269.3K. So the market value went up because I invested the assets. So by exactly that amount. My margin balance here has basically gone up to what I had for when we started. So 130.2K. And then margin total, 169.6K. So that stays the same because the assets got invested. And then my buffer also stays the same, 70.7K. Or actually, no, slightly dips because of the margin maintenance, essentially. So 50.9K, 1% off there. So yeah, so this is invested. Amazing writing. And yeah, I'll probably have to move that. But so yeah, I can kind of see the flow here, and we'll go over this at the end. But yeah, so next step here, I have only one bill to pay today. So it is only my mortgage. So the just nearly 3K mortgage here. That's my one bill left for this month. And then now that the full paycheck has been invested, I can kind of nudge this here. So yeah, overall, it's been a good month here for September. So yeah, this 159% is basically like based on like my base paycheck. So I kind of like seeing how much I'm actually investing over that. So yeah, this is with brokerage and retirement, and then this is just with my brokerage. So yeah, this year it's been good as far as like all the investing. Total invested nearly 150K, and then in my taxable brokerage 133K between all the dividends and what I'm putting in from the paycheck. So as far as the mortgage, so I'm basically just going to transfer this over to my spending account. So 2,998.31, and then I'll basically just draw it directly from my spending account. I won't show that part just to save on time here, but let's just move that over. So basically just going to move that. So you can kind of see here I have like 19.4K. So I'm just going to move that over. So 2,998.31. So yeah, that's the mortgage confirmed. So just move that over from individual to spending, review transfer. Cool. So yeah, so the important thing to understand here is that I'm not necessarily just moving money around in buckets, right? Just for fun. What's happening is that I'm moving over my paycheck first to my investment account, then I'm investing it. That's the key part. So my market value and my assets grow. And then what basically happens there is I take a loan against that to pay my mortgage, essentially. So yeah, so this money's ready. Then after this video is done, I'll just go on the mortgage site and actually just initiate the payment there. So this gets drawn later today. But that's the gist of it there. So that's my one bill for today. So final step here. So one, actually, let me just update my spreadsheet. So just with the new Costco values here. So Costco's at, where was it? 7.55. And its average share price 950.47. Nice average down there. And same for Ulti, 2.84. That one I'll want to be precise about it. 2.839 and 575. So actually I should have saved the monthly dividend here. But yeah, if you remember from earlier, this was actually at like 5.1K. So you can kind of see how that went up by nearly 300 or so, which is amazing. So yeah, that's updated. Cool. And then yeah, the one last thing we want to do is just kind of get all these updated numbers, right? So my buying power here is down to 33. Let me just refresh just to be doubly sure. All these are the current numbers. So here my buying power is at 33.4K. So only 1K lower for after all that, right? From paying the mortgage. Cash available, if I go back here, so let me just update just to be sure. Cash available, 16.4K. Equity, 136.2K. Market value, 269.5K. And that's $200 made in the span of these last 20 minutes. 0.5K. Margin balance. So that's ticked up because of the mortgage. So see that extra 3,000, that's basically from the mortgage here. So 133.2K margin total. So this went down because of the money that got withdrawn. So 166.6K. And then margin buffer, 67.9K. That's 49.8%. So yeah, one thing I forgot to note here was like the monthly dividend. So this was like 5.1K roughly, and then now it is 5.4K roughly. And then yeah, this is obviously just an estimate, right? But how I'm calculating that, as I mentioned in the last video, is that I'm actually doing I'm not doing the average anymore because that number was coming up too high because of the extremes, but I'm doing the median. So basically putting all the numbers in the line and then basically taking the value right in the middle. So I think it's a little bit more accurate. It's a little bit lower as a number. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out over time. I think that should be a little bit more accurate, a little bit closer to what I'm actually making right now. But yeah, once you kind of see like the full thing all together, right? And yeah, one thing I forgot as well too is to note the equity, but this was like roughly 50% from what I remember. Let's just say 50% equity, and then now that's up to 51.6. Actually, wait, no, that's wrong because I need to update these values here. So sorry. So if I update the margin, I didn't update that part yet, and then this one, margin total. So this will roughly match what I was seeing in Robinhood here. So yeah, my equity value is actually 50.56. So let's erase that. So that's gone up by like 0.5% essentially, 0.6, let's call it. Yeah, so you can kind of see the whole flow here of what happened, right? So as the buying power evolved, yeah, I started 34K. That actually goes up with the paycheck being deposited. Once it's invested, that goes down slightly, but not that. Yeah, for basically just half that thing. So basically 10K that got added, then half that because you invested like that full amount, that goes down to 39. And then because I took a bill out, and that goes down to 30K. So really, this has gone down $600 as far as buying power from drawing a 3K mortgage, which is amazing. So that's how the margin buffer stays high because of the full deposit. And then you can kind of see my cash available. It goes from 16.7 to 22.1K because that's that full amount here, right? And yeah, that once you invested that actually goes down. So you'll notice here that like it only really went down, like I don't want to calculate it right now, but you'll see that only goes down by a portion, right? So it didn't go down that full 5.4K amount. It went down roughly, let's just calculate it. So 19.4 minus 16.7. So it went down actually, yeah, exactly half. So my cash available for withdrawal only went down half because I invested it. So half that cash that from what I put in is available, right? And then once I pull it out, like yeah, the 3K comes out, so that's down to 16.4. So really, since the beginning, this only went down $300, or basically I've been taking out 3,000, which is good. And then my equity value here, so it started at 134K to 139, stays at 139 once you're invested because the assets actually just stay in the account. And yeah, and then it's down to 136 because you took out the mortgage, right? And then for the market value, this is the key part here, because this is basically what's compounding and what I'm building up from month to month, right? This market value. So this is kind of like what you're seeing as well here when I'm looking at that. So like when I started in May, my market value was at 205K, and then now I'm all the way up to 69K. So that's where you're kind of really seeing the thing. This is what's compounding. So like over half the portfolio here is in growth, which is capital appreciation, and the other half is in high yield. So that's what providing my monthly income. So I started at 264K and then ended up at 269. And this doesn't change after you withdraw the mortgage because I'm not selling anything. I'm basically just borrowing against this value essentially. So this value keeps going up and then I keep borrowing against it. And then my margin balance over here started at 130K and then that ends up at 133K here because I drew on for the mortgage. So you can kind of see how that balance dips because I deposited, then goes up because I invested it back to what it was, and then I add to it. And then later this week, I'll get dividends, and then this will get paid down again. So that's why I kind of like depositing the dividends straight to cash, just so that really kind of keeps this relatively in check as I'm drawing from it. So yeah, I know people have brought up of like, oh, why would you not just reinvest the things and like the compounding would be even crazier? Yes, I know, like logically it would make sense, but also like the strategy is also very risky already. So I think psychologically the dividends paying down the margin a little bit week by week kind of helps me keep motivated and also keep that a little bit in check, right? And then here for the margin total, I started at 164K, went up to 169 with the deposits and the investments. then down to 166, right? So yeah, there, that's like, yeah, just ebbing and flowing with the full paycheck there. And it's like roughly minus 3K here, or plus 2K in the end. And then margin buffer, you can kind of see how that went up and down. But I ended up at a higher margin buffer in the end because of my full paycheck being invested there. So yeah, I'm up 800 in my margin buffer. So helps keep it a little bit more secure given the full paycheck being invested. And then here the monthly dividend potentially going from 5.1K to 5.4 per month, and then my equity slowly going up as well too. So yeah, hopefully this gives like a nice big picture of like how this ebbs and flows, and how, yeah, just kind of seeing the full big picture of it. Cause like, yeah, you kind of see all these numbers kind of scattered together when I'm kind of going through this whole process. So hopefully this helps. Definitely let me know what you think about that. But yeah, that's the video. That's the whole paycheck investment. As usual, yeah, to wrap up the video, you can always follow me on Blossom Social. You can kind of see all my trades there. So like, probably I think if I update this, you'll actually see the trades I just did now, or maybe not yet. So yeah, it's a bit slow on the uptake today. Usually it's pretty good. I did do a trade this morning on my investment account as far as SCHD. Actually, yeah, no, this was just a drip. And then I did also reinvest some SCHD dividends from the retirement account into VGT instead. So you can all see that there. Best way to see all my trades and things like that. And then also and you can find all those links in my description for the video. And also there's a link to my Snowball analytics page where you'll see all this information that I typically show in other videos as well. Yeah, fully transparent, kind of see all my pies and how I have stuff broken down. All my stocks and all their performance fully transparently. So you can kind of see that most of the things are actually green in total return. So, some red here for like more Bitcoin focused things. And yeah, you have the full picture of everything. So yeah, just love being fully transparent with all that. You can also see all my trades in here as well too. But yeah, that's the video. So that wraps up episode 3. I'm looking forward to doing the next one in the middle of October. And yeah, as far as the next video, it'll be another portfolio update coming up this weekend. So this one will be a meatier one, just because I'll have to go over this week's performance and then also go over September's performance overall. So look forward to that. And then also that's where I'll basically be doing like a monthly recap of goals as well too. So if you remember, I introduced some goals here, just intermediate goals before I reach 5. So we're going to see how we're tracking against that, and I'll update all these numbers. Like all these are outdated at this point, and also the rough dates. So yeah, look forward to that this weekend, like probably Saturday or Sunday. That just depends on how stuff shakes out on the weekend typically, but we'll definitely be out this weekend. So yeah, this video went long. Sorry, I wanted to go over this. We won't do this every video, but yeah, I just wanted to point to this in the future for anyone that was curious. So have a good rest of your week. If you got some value out of this and you're excited to follow future portfolio updates, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.